What I typically recommend is that you use Lapland Leather Wax. It's a wax that we have developed specifically for knives and knife sheaths, and it's not going to soften the leather in the way that something like a boot grease or a leather balm for gloves is going to do. Those products are great for what they're intended for, and that's really to look after soft leather products that are going to maintain its softness. This is a different type of product. A knife sheath needs to maintain its form and rigidity to hold the knife in proper place. And if you apply a grease to it, it's gonna the leather is gonna expand, and it's gonna have a form that isn't gonna keep the knife in its place properly. So we've got a specially formulated wax that's particularly suitable for putting a waterproofing layer on the knife sheath. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use that. When you want to apply the Lapland Leather Wax, make sure that the sheath or the leather pouch is clean and dry. Apply the wax to a piece of cloth, then onto the leather. A thin leather, but even. Now, when you've covered the entire knife, you can also do the inside of the leather. And particularly use it for any edges that have been damaged, to make sure that you get it fully protected. Once you've covered it with the wax, leave it for about 30 minutes to let it dry. This depends a little bit on the conditions, but if you're indoors particularly, half an hour is going to be sufficient. And when you can then come back to the leather, I'm going to show you what to do next. Okay, we're back after 30 minutes, and the solvent in the wax has now evaporated, and we can use a dry cloth just to buff the leather. And this also gives it a nice shiny surface that is even more water repellent and looks great. As I mentioned, this can be done after about 30 minutes, and you can let this sheath dry again for 24 hours. You can absolutely use it, but if you want to buff it again just after 24 hours, that would have been even more drying. And sometimes you can use a little brush just to get a little bit of white residue away from the stitching and other places where it's got caught. So that's something to consider, and then it's good to go.